Hello everybody, it's Terry from The Craft Curator. Well, it's Sunday the 15th of February. It's a little overcast, getting quite muggy, which I do not like, but you can't control the weather. So, well, I can actually. I could put on my air conditioning because now I am actually in my yarn room, which has now been put in what was the guest room. Finally, Glenn has said that I could move the guest room up to the study because we don't really have a lot of guests. So basically, walking all that way up there, having to have a fan on that made a lot of noise, it was pointless. So I thought, well, why not come down to this area? Glenn wouldn't have it. I think it was the thought of having to move everything. So I just planted a seed for a while and watered it, and then he actually said I could have the huge lounge room because that really doesn't get used either as a total craft room. And then I thought, well, that doesn't have air conditioning either, so I'm not solving any problems with the humidity or the heat or the cold. So I said, no, I don't want to go into that big room, and what will we do with all that beautiful furniture in there? I said, really, Glenn, the most practical place for me to be is where the guest room is at the moment. And plus, that means that if guests come, I'm not going to be bothered by them because my room's down there too. Glenn and I have been sleeping separately for quite a few years now, owing to the fact that he likes to sleep in a wind tunnel and has really bad sleep apnea, and I needed sleep. As you get older, you need your sleep. You can't go without your sleep. So basically, I have my own area now. So I have my yarn room, my paper crafting and anything room, and my sewing room all down the south end of the house, which is great. I'm loving it. It took a couple of days to basically pack up the yarn, which I do have a lot of, and put it in boxes so that the cupboards and the bookcases could be totally empty. And then all Glenn had to do was move the furniture out from one room up to the other room. And I must say, it does look really nice up there. I haven't quite finished. I've got a couple of pictures to put on the wall. And I'm sort of having an oriental theme in that room because I have a beautiful bedspread that has cherry blossom. No, it doesn't. Has magnolias on it. But it's very oriental looking, you know, with the oriental temples and that sort of thing on it. And the colours are really lovely. And I happen to have two big pictures that are black lettering in a gold frame. Or is it gold lettering in a black frame? I can't remember. When the room's finished and the pictures are up on the wall, I'll show you. Plus, it's a good place to store and charge my gopher. Yes, I have a gopher. I have really bad arthritis in my feet and I have a problem walking long distances. But that's a story I'll tell you later because the story about the gopher is quite interesting. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So basically now I am set up in this very, very bright room, which is on the northeast side of the house. And I have my vegetable garden out my window. You might see a little bit of the pergola over here, and we need the shade there. Veggies have not grown very, very well this year. It has had some really exceptionally hot days, and I think we're going to have to put more shade cloth up, and I think we're probably going to have to, I'm actually trying to grow passion fruit over the top of part of my veggie garden so that we get a little bit more shade, and hopefully it will stop that easterly from really, really damaging my plants. So when my gardener it's not that we can particularly afford a gardener. I have support workers because I'm on aged care, and I have a support worker that is a gardener, and he comes on Mondays for 2 hours, and he does things that I'm unable to do. Glenn is actually waiting for a hip replacement, so it's good that I have Paul coming on Mondays, because he can do things that Glenn could never help me with at the moment, apart from moving furniture with the trolley, which was a big ask. But he managed to do it, and it wasn't too bad. And I have 2 other support workers that take me out on Thursday and Friday, just so I have some company and I actually, go somewhere. It's not that I can't drive or I can't go anywhere. It's just that I get aged care, and it's not because I'm particularly old. There is another reason why I get aged care, but I won't go into that today. Okay, so here we are. We're in my new yarn room, and I couldn't be happier. It is going to be lovely and quiet. I won't have to close every single door so I don't hear the television when Glenn has it up loud. It's not that he's going deaf. He gets a lot of wax in his ears, and honestly, that guy could start a wax factory and have the wax used to make candles. I've never known anybody to have so much wax build up in their ears in such a short amount of time. I think it's hilarious. He doesn't, but that's life, I mean, we're all given certain challenges in life, and if wax in his ears is the only challenge he has, apart from he will get his hip replaced, then he'll be, up and doing things that he wants to do. And so I'm not actually going to do anything this week as in a craft. I think I'll just show you around the new yarn room, my craft room and my sewing room, and that'll do. It's not going to be a terribly long video. I'm still getting over the big move and trying to think of, what craft will I finish? What craft will I do next? I think because I'm in the yarn room, basically I'll probably finish off some crochet projects that I've got on the go. One is a short little jacket is crocheted, and I'll be happy with that. I'm not so sure that I'm happy with it being white. I actually think I might tea dye it, which isn't too hard. It'll give it a nice beige effect, and because it's acrylic, it'll just suck the colour up, and using salt will help set the dye. So, I could even use coffee. That would give it a little bit more brownier sort of shade. Yeah, excuse me a minute. I've just got this new little cup. I've got to show it to you because I am in the yarn room. And when I'm in the yarn room, I'll use it. It's actually a llama, but I'm going to call it an alpaca because I actually spin alpaca. So I'm calling it an alpaca. I haven't found out a name for it yet. It hasn't actually come to me, but yeah, we'll call it an alpaca. It's not the easiest thing to drink out of. I would say it's more a novelty cup really than a cup that you'd use to drink out of. But yeah, it's not too bad. It works. I can actually drink out of it. So as I was saying, I have the crochet jacket to finish. I'm also crocheting a bag. I have the handle for it. I've had it for many, many years. So I thought I'll use the same sort of pattern, and I'll use this cotton that I've had for many, many years to make a nice crocheted bag with it. And then, that's right, I'll show you when I do the video of the room. I started to do these granny squares, And the colours, I just love the colours. I don't know what I'll do with it. I might turn it into another cardigan or a jacket. I don't know. It depends on how much yarn I've got left. Because a lot of my yarn, I don't actually go out and buy lots of it. I see a couple of colours I like and I go, oh, I like that colour. I might use that colour. So, and then I find I have this big project in mind, and I'm sorry, Terry, that yarn is no longer available from Spotlight because I live in Western Australia. Australia and New Zealand have Spotlight, a bit like if you're overseas, your Hobby Lobby, well, I can't say Joann's anymore because evidently that's closed down, but you've got Michael's as well. We only really have one large retailer of craft goods, and that's Spotlight. We do have a couple of, individual shops where I can go and get different material and that if I want, but I've got enough material to last me a few years too, so I've really got to avoid Spotlight unless it's replacing something that I use up. So that's my thing for the year. Use it, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, that's the crocheting projects. I had a problem with curtaining in the activity room, which is the large craft area now. This end of the house actually used to be the children's end. So there's 3 bedrooms, a bathroom that has a semi-ensuite door, and the big activity room, because I've told you Glenn built the house, but I designed it, never to be built. And I'll tell you the story about that one day too. Okay, so basically, this isn't really that short, is it? It was supposed to be short, but it's not that short. But anyway, I'll keep going. So basically, I needed light curtains because the heavy thermal back curtains with the big rings in them were too heavy for what I was using to put them up, and Glenn hasn't actually put up really good hanging things for it. So I thought, I really need light curtains. So I went to Kmart. That's a bit like your Walmart, I guess. And I was looking around there and I saw these really, really nice shower curtains. And I thought, shower curtains are quite light. So I bought a few of them, and I have made a long one for the craft room, and I put the tape on the back that you put your split rings through, and then I used rods that push in at one end so that they'd stay up there, and then I just put a plain drop length on the window. And I think I actually want to add another length to that curtain, which I'll show you when we're doing the craft rooms tour. And I'll be putting one in the sewing room. So that's my sewing projects. Projects in the actual craft room. I started off this morning by putting the photos that were in the wall in the study in the hallway, because I walk past them all the time so I can see them. I like looking at the photos of my family and remembering, loved ones past. And yeah, I'm going to have to think about how I'm putting them up, because one fell down, broke all the glass in it. And this is a bit of a warning. If you have rough walls, yes, you can use the 3M products on them for putting very, very light things. But the best way to do it is not with the hooks, it's with the Velcro. And have lighter paintings or use a lot of Velcro. And yeah, I was a bit upset that one fell down, but like I said, it's my own fault for not thinking about what I was doing. Okay, so that's a project I've got to do. What else would I have on the go? Oh, well, I've got my socks. I knit socks and I knit 2 at a time, which is an amazing technique until you actually get to the heels. I've never been able to master that. I can't get my head around it. So if you're a knitter, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So basically, when I get to the heels, I actually take one sock off, do the heel, put the other sock on the needles again, do the other sock heel, and then I put both of them back on together to do the foot length and the toes. Fine for me. I do a lot of knitting of socks because I find they're a great thing to carry in the car when Glenn's driving or when you're sitting around in hospital rooms waiting for people to come out. So I've got my socks, and next week I think what I'd like to do is a bit of embroidery. I actually found a very small embroidery when I was tidying up my sewing room, because that's where my embroidery trolley is, or cart. And I thought, oh, I must finish that. So maybe next week, if you've got some embroidery or crochet or anything that you want to do while I'm having a little chat with you, because it is a personal thing. It is you that I am with at the time of this video. And thank you for your company. I love having company while I'm doing things. You know, I often talk to friends when I'm loading and unloading the dishwasher because I hate it so much. So if you're talking to somebody while you're doing a task you don't like, not that I don't like my embroidery, because I love embroidery. I love any type of craft, as you know, and I've mentioned in the first video. Yeah, if, you know, you're doing something that doesn't have a lot of noise, tidying up the kitchen, tidying up a bedroom, making a bed, ring a friend. Ring a friend and do it with the, well, and you know what? Sometimes my friends do it something at the same time, and it just, you know, sort of makes the task go a lot quicker, and you're not so, oh, I don't know, what's the word? I can't think of the word. You know, fed up with the task that you keep repeating over and over and over and over and over again. So that's the way it is. Anyway, I am going to now stop this video. I'll come back after I've shown you the craft rooms that are all off each other now. Off each other, alongside of each other. Honestly, sometimes my brain is just not working when it comes to getting the words that I need to use. Okay, stay with me and I'll be back in a second. So I thought I'd take a walk down the passage. Very long passage, I might add, and show you the main craft room. And this is where I do a lot of things like resin work, painting, stamping, card making. These are all my trolley carts that I use to keep things in so that I can just move them around to the area that I need them. This is my picture that fell off the wall and broke the glass. That's another one. Lesson learnt there. These are the shower curtains that I turned into curtains for the room. And because I cut off the bottom of that particular shower curtain just to cover the window, I added it to the bottom of this one. I quite like the ring look, the double ring look. And then that's albums that I need to, well, they're not albums, they're photo frames that I'll be using, and have my own little coffee area down here, which is good. More trolleys over there. As you can see, the room is pretty full of stuff. Stuff I don't know if I'm going to have enough years left to do. My mats for my cricket machine. My bag of bears. I love my bears. Just love my bears. So I didn't know what to do with that. It came out of the yarn room where I had a spinning turntable with all the stuff I used while I was knitting and crocheting, and I thought, oh, I'll just put it here. It really needs painting. Okay, so we'll go into the sewing room and let you have a look in there. So this is my sewing room. And there's more pictures there that I have to sort into those white frames to put on the wall. Glenn made a big whiteboard for me. I can actually use the top part. It's got metal on it, so I can hang up things that I'd like to do in the future. And that's where I keep all my fat quarters. These are actually from Kmart, and they're for fridges, and they just fit my fat quarters perfectly. And below that is where I keep my large amounts of material that I've just wrapped onto cardboard, turned a bookcase upside down and use that. This is my cutting table, and these drawers are full of my cottons from my embroidery machine, some laces, different things like that. This is where I do my sewing. And that's my embroidery machine and my overlocker. That's what it's called. Not that I've used it in a while. I really need to sort out the threading. I'm just having so many problems with breaking thread that I went out and I bought some new thread, and I thought I'd use grey because the light grey seems to be able to do a lot of things. In fact, I use the light grey even basically when I'm doing... Has this got light grey in it? Yeah, this has got light grey in it. Doing my paper piecing. I love paper piecing too. So that's my sewing room. Oh, Glenn put this up for me too. This is really handy for when you're doing patchwork. It's just a foam board with batting on, bamboo batting that I can actually just, you know, it'll hold material without pins. So that's a great way to work out how you want your quarters or your squares or whatever you're doing in a quilt to look. So that's that. And of course, that's my table. Another project to do. My daughter made this when she was in high school, I think. She's now nearly 40. Well, she's 40 next year. So I thought I'd turn it into like a planter. Paint it. Why not? Okay, let's go into the new fantastic yarn room. You've probably noticed I've got TVs in every room. That's because we never throw anything out. So I decided I'll use them. So my babies at pre-primary on the wall, Ryan in Afghanistan, myself when I was in the army, Ryan, and this is my bookcase. On top of the bookcase is a lot of kits. Sometimes I find these kits really cheap in Kmart, and I like the patterns, so I grab them, and then I've got the pattern. I'll do the little crab and turtle and things like that, and then I can use the pattern for plushies. So that's my wall of, well, it's sort of a library and area where I keep things that I've made. I also do knitting with a circular knitting machine. At the moment I'm doing hats and scarves for people in need, so it's a good way of getting rid of yarn that's been given to me or that I've got no use for in the future. Don't you love the lamb? It's actually for a pot plant, but I use it to hold my pens and that in. It's great. Siamese putty tat to remind me of the beautiful Siamese Mizumi that we once had. And you can just see outside my raised garden. It's a bit cloudy today. You can just sort of see my gerbras. Yeah, there's my gerbras. I'm going to get lots more of them. Okay, so that's about it. My spinning wheel. I won't show you inside the cupboard because that's going to be all reorganized. Okay, so that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's sometimes difficult to know what to talk about, but because I had been moving things around so much, I thought this is probably a good time to explain what I have been doing in the last week, because I said they would be weekly. Oh, that's That's my bedroom there. I love my bedroom. So Glenn built the headboard for me. Well, I covered it. Glenn built it. So, and then we go over to the ensuite. They're actually where I hang all my jewellery. I love this idea. I found them on Temu. They're meant to be for keys, I think. And I thought, oh, I'll paint them and use them for my jewellery. So, don't you love looking at a white wall? Okay, well, that's the video for today. I hope you had a good week, and I hope next week's going to be great for you too. Look at Ruby. She's looking for something she can find to chew. Aren't you? You're looking for something to find to chew. That's what you're doing. So Ruby and Bear and myself, sorry for going a bit fast, we'll say goodbye for this week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye for now.